If you're a Lakers fan, you probably felt that first jolt of excitement, tinged with a little panic, the moment the Shawms bomb dropped.
Los Angeles agrees to a 2-year deal with free agent center DeAndre Ayton.
On its face, the headline feels like vintage Hollywood. Massive talent, huge upside, and a splashy roll of the dice. But you realize it's way more than a late summer roster tweak. This is the most audacious gamble the franchise has taken since it mortgaged half the roster for Luka Dončić last spring. Ayton isn't simply another body to soak up minutes in the paint. He's the awkward but necessary final piece of a title blueprint that leans on LeBron's genius and desperately needs size, rim pressure, and a consistent second-chance engine. And because nothing in LA ever happens quietly, Ayton's arrival is already the hottest debate on barstools from Venice to Vegas. Is he the big who unlocks everything, or a 7-foot sinkhole that swallows an entire season? Before we proceed, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Core Vision Hooper. All right, now that you did that, let's get it.
That gap between what Ayton should be and what he is haunted Phoenix executives enough to swap him for depth, scared Portland enough to make him a low-usage placeholder, and ultimately dropped his market value into buy-low territory. For Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka, who'd been hunting a rim runner to flank Luka ever since Anthony Davis's lower body injuries piled up, the discount was irresistible. The Lakers didn't just need any center. They needed one who could finish lobs, inhale rebounds, and at least pretend to protect the rim so Luka and LeBron don't have to. On paper, Ayton checks every box. In reality, he comes wrapped in a mile of caution tape that screams, handle with care. Here's the upside scenario. Ayton's bread and butter action, setting a sturdy high screen, rolling hard, catching the pocket pass above the cylinder, and cramming it home, is tailor-made for Luka's brand of pick-and-roll sorcery. We also have Luka's step back, keeping both defenders on ice until the last second. Then, that laser left-hand whip looks off the weak side tagger and finds his rolling big right at the summit. For years, Dwight Powell feasted on those crumbs, despite having what scouts politely call average vertical pop. Maxi Kleber became a short roll savant because Luka's gravity turned every empty side action into a 3-on-2. Sprinkle Ayton's length and softer hands into that ecosystem, and suddenly Luka has his most physically dominant role partner yet. Picture a 6'7" guard snaking around a 7-foot mountain, both defenders stranded in no man's land, and Ayton hammering a lob so violently that Crypto.com Arena feels like the old Lob City days rebooted for Gen Z. P.S. Real Lakers fans still call it Staples Center, but I only said the other name so YouTube can pick up on the relevant keywords. But don't freeze Ayton into the rim runner box just yet. Late clock offense has been the Lakers' Achilles since LeBron's mileage started showing. Luka erases a lot of those issues, but even he hits the occasional wall when teams send size and extra help. Drop the ball into Ayton on the left block with 8 seconds left, and he can bully a switched guard, spin middle, and flip that soft hook he's been perfecting since college. He's not Joel Embiid, who is, but he doesn't need to be. If he punishes mismatches 3 times a quarter, defenses have to think twice before selling out on Luka 35 feet from the hoop. That little splash of inside gravity could be the difference between the Lakers' half-court offense looking like a masterclass instead of a one-man magic show when the game slows down in May. Defensively, Ayton's ceiling is equally tantalizing, though skeptics will tell you the floor resembles a trap door. At his best, he slides well enough to survive switches, funnels ball handlers into help, and uses that reach to contest without fouling. Pair that with his pogo stick's second jump on the glass, and you've covered 2 of LA's biggest holes in one swoop: rim deterrence and reliable defensive rebounding. Luka will never be prime Gary Payton on the perimeter, but with Ayton patrolling the second line, the staff can came in more aggressively. Show and recover, early traps, scram switches, knowing there's a legit eraser waiting near the cup. It's the kind of trickle-down impact analytics nerds drool over. Defensive rating dives, transition frequency spikes, and everyone's life gets easier because one dude finally decided to flex his 7-foot privilege. Of course, all that sunshine depends on a giant if. The same if that has followed Ayton since his rookie deal. If he plays hard every night. If he locks in on the game plan instead of checking out after one bad whistle. If he stops letting missed touches in the first quarter snowball into sulks in the fourth. Coaches from Monty Williams to Chauncey Billups have publicly questioned his fire. Chris Paul once roasted him in a huddle so loud NBA Twitter lip-read the whole thing. When the Suns collapsed against Dallas in 2022, cameras caught Ayton and Williams jawing like 2 dudes who'd rather be anywhere else.
Richard, the Jiggy 2.
The worry isn't that he'll forget how to dunk. It's
chance that he'll forget to care. That's why the Lakers' gamble is less about talent acquisition and more about culture shock therapy. There is no hiding in purple and gold. The moment you touch the ball, 15,000 phones pop up like periscopes, ready to splice your every awkward shuffle into TikTok takes. Every Lakers practice report hits 2 million views. If you get cooked in back-to-back defensive possessions on a random Monday in January, Stephen A. will yell about it Tuesday morning. Pressure this intense can break a player, but it can also wake him up. Think Dwight Howard in 2020, rejuvenated by the chance to rewrite his narrative. Think the way Meta World Peace harnessed the Staples energy into the defensive stand that swung a Game 7. Ayton's entering the same crucible, only this time the experiment is a live broadcast, and the clock is set to win now.
Add Luka to the equation and the accountability multiplies. Luka's leadership style isn't the in-your-face Phil Jackson vibe, but it's brutally honest. Mess up a coverage, and he'll let you know walking back on defense. Not in a meme-worthy meltdown, more like a frustrated big brother who expected you to meet the family curfew. Yet, he's also the NBA's best confidence booster for role players, because every good screen you set becomes an alley-oop on SportsCenter. Give energy, get fed. Slack off, get benched. Chasing that dopamine loop can condition even the flightiest teammate into a creature of habit. And when Luka winks after a dime, crowds explode like somebody spliced a cheat code into the Matrix. Ayton has never experienced that feedback loop in an arena that seats more stars than the Oscars. If that doesn't light a fire, nothing will.
But Lakers better look at this team's made up. I don't know what's going, evac, making the stream war to fire, just.
Not that the Lakers front office is oblivious to the risks. The contract is 2 years, team-friendly money, high enough to hurt if it fails, short enough to dump if it implodes. Pelinka also fortified the margins. Veteran shooter Malik Beasley to stretch weak side corners, rookie pogo stick Jalen Swan as an energy big off the bench, and re-up Jared Vanderbilt for switch everything lineups when Ayton's motor dips. The message is clear. We believe in you, but we're not handcuffed to you. Perform, cash in. Drift and enjoy the view from the end of the bench while Swan dives on every loose ball. Failure? We've already seen that movie. Ayton starts slow, loses minutes to Vando in closing lineups, drifts through a national TV game where Luka drops 48 and still loses because the new big grabbed 3 rebounds in 27 minutes. Social media flames him, talk radio callers demand a trade yesterday, and by February, the only highlight featuring Ayton is Luka's exasperated shrug after another blown rotation. Then, the Lakers are stuck deciding whether to flip him for spare parts or ride the storm into a summer of hard questions. It's the kind of worst-case outcome that can derail an entire competitive window. And that's exactly why the move feels so gripping. For Ayton, the personal stakes are even bigger. Big men often peak later, but the league no longer waits. He's already burned through the goodwill cushion baked into every first overall pick. This is the proving ground year. Either stamp your name beside Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic as a modern big who matters in June, or risk sliding into the blurred scroll of what happened to that guy. You can almost hear every scout who doubted his motor itching to press send on apologies. Or I told you so tweets, depending on which Ayton shows up. And that brings us back to you, slumped on your couch, scrolling through NBA Reddit, or No Context NBA on Instagram at 2 a.m. The next 8 months are appointment viewing. Every quarter will feed the discourse, every lob will spark a TikTok highlight, every half-hearted closeout will spawn a 30-second rant on ESPN. By the time spring rolls around, we'll know whether the Lakers just solved their biggest puzzle or handed the Western Conference a lifeline. Either way, Laker Nation hasn't injected this much uncertainty into their veins since LeBron announced The Decision, Part 2. So buckle up. DeAndre Ayton has called himself Dominatin' for years. Now, under LA's brightest LEDs and beside the league's most mesmerizing maestro, he'll either prove the nickname prophetic or watch it morph into meme material forever. No more soft talk, no more Bahamian getaways mid-series, no more next year. The experiment begins opening night, and it's going to be loud, messy, and impossible to ignore, just the way Hollywood likes it.
Whatever happens, this year's Lakers ride is about to test everyone's heart rate, starting with the 7-footer who holds the keys to everything.